Who wasn't in Seinfeld's pilot episode? Which cast member ignited controversy after an inappropriate rant caught on camera? And which two former stars recently teamed up to raise money for charity? Hi, I'm Dylan, and you're watching OSSA. Let's see what the cast members have been up to since our favorite show about nothing wrapped in 1998. Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Elaine Benes. Did you know that Elaine Benes wasn't in the original Seinfeld script? Instead, the main female character was Claire, a waitress played by Lee Garlington. Yet Claire only appeared in the pilot episode of the show, which was originally called The Seinfeld Chronicles. Apparently, producers felt the show was too male-centric and needed a female character who was more involved in the storyline. In fact, commentary on a DVD box set later revealed that Seinfeld was only picked up on condition that the writers included a significant female lead. Enter Jerry Seinfeld's ex-girlfriend Elaine Benes, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus. The actress had originally met Seinfeld co-creator Larry David during her 3-year stint on NBC's Saturday Night Live. At 21, she was the youngest female cast member to have ever been hired by the live television sketch comedy show at the time. While film and short-lived sitcom roles followed, Elaine is the role that made her a star. Elaine didn't bow to society's expectations. One of a kind, she paved the way for the multifaceted female TV characters that came after her. After Seinfeld ended, Louis-Dreyfus achieved the impossible. While many battle to break the shackles of a long-running TV role, Louis-Dreyfus did just that. She went on to star in 2 award-winning comedy series, The New Adventures of Old Christine and Veep. In fact, she made history by winning Emmys not only for Seinfeld, but for those 2 series as well. Having won a total of 8 acting Emmys to date, Louis-Dreyfus shares the record for the most ever Emmy wins by a performer. In January this year, Louis-Dreyfus signed a lucrative multi-year deal with Apple TV, under which she'll develop new projects both as an executive producer and star. Not only has Louis-Dreyfus been super successful professionally, but she's also been lucky in love. She's been married to writer-director Brad Hall for over 33 years, almost unheard of in celebrity circles. The two met at Northwestern University and starred together on SNL. Hall and Louis-Dreyfus share 2 sons, both of whom are in their 20s. But it hasn't always been smooth sailing for the actress. In 2017, she was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. She announced her diagnosis on Twitter, using it as a platform to expose gaps in the healthcare system. The good news is that I have the most glorious group of supportive and caring family and friends, and fantastic insurance through my union, she wrote. The bad news is that not all women are so lucky, so let's fight all cancers and make universal healthcare a reality. Louis-Dreyfus underwent 6 rounds of chemotherapy and a double mastectomy, and has thankfully since been declared cancer-free. Jason Alexander as George Costanza. Playing Jerry's ever-loyal, impulsive, grouchy, and completely neurotic sidekick George Costanza, Jason Alexander was widely praised for his performance. In fact, George has been called the greatest sitcom character of all time. Did you know that this character was inspired by the real personality of Seinfeld co-creator Larry David? Observing David's neuroses in his later sitcom, Curb Your Enthusiasm, where he plays a fictionalized version of himself, it's easy to see the similarities. Fun fact, the cast of Seinfeld actually reunited in a 2009 episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Alexander himself started his acting career in theater, appearing in numerous roles on Broadway, winning a Tony Award along the way. In a 2013 video interview with Television Academy Foundation, Alexander revealed that his childhood dream was actually to be a magician. Yet, he was discouraged from this career path because his hands were too small for card tricks. However, he soon found that acting came with its own kind of magic. After Seinfeld wrapped, Alexander could never find a television role that measured up to that of the legendary George Costanza. He starred in 2 short-lived sitcoms, Bob Patterson and Listen Up. More recently, he's made guest appearances in popular comedy series, including Young Sheldon and The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Over the years, he's also appeared in supporting roles in a number of movies. His standout film performance, though, has to be as the Pretty Woman villain Philip Stuckey, a power-hungry and cruel businessman and attorney. Yet his first love, theater, has been Alexander's most constant source of accomplishment since Seinfeld wrapped. From 2007 to 2013, he was the artistic director of Los Angeles Reprise Theater Company. During this time, he acted in major stage productions, including The Producers. Unlike George, one place where Alexander's always found happiness is in his love life. He's been married to Dana E. Title since 1982. The two met when Alexander was a penniless casting agent, but he proposed after just 6 weeks. Title actually rejected this and his 2 subsequent proposals. Undeterred, Alexander pulled out the big guns. According to HowCelebsMet.com, he rented a billboard in Times Square that read, "Dana, I love you. Please marry me. Forever, Jason." Who could refuse that? 38 years later, the two are happier than ever and have 2 adult sons. It's through their sons that Alexander and Louis-Dreyfus share a special bond. Alexander chatted about this in a recent interview with Australian talk show, The Project. While he said he was close to Louis-Dreyfus, who had 2 kids at a similar time to him, Alexander claimed that he and his Seinfeld co-stars were more like workmates than buddies who socialized off set. While they still acknowledge each other's birthdays, the 4 apparently don't catch up regularly. Yet, he was quick to reassure fans that when they do see each other, it's like no time has passed. In fact, Alexander and Louis-Dreyfus recently reunited in an Instagram live chat, teaming up with Direct Relief to raise money for frontline coronavirus workers. Upon seeing her former co-star, Louis-Dreyfus said, "I can't stand it. I'm so happy to see you." Speaking about his financial situation during the pandemic, Alexander told Louis-Dreyfus, "Like you, my family is disproportionately blessed, thanks to God and Jerry Seinfeld." Michael Richards as Cosmo Kramer. Want to know how Michael Richards landed his role as zany oddball Cosmo Kramer? He finished his audition with a handstand. We're not surprised that Jerry Seinfeld managed to convince Larry David that Richards was the right man for the job. David had in fact previously worked with him on Late Night Live Comedy Fridays. Yet David wanted someone who resembled his real ex-neighbor, comedian Kenny Kramer, on whom the role was based. Yet Richards proved Seinfeld right, going on to win 3 Emmys for his role, more than any other cast member during the show's run. Having started his career as a stand-up comedian, Richards' timing was impeccable. To play a character so defined by physical comedy, Richards had to really embody Kramer. He was so committed to the role that his castmates reportedly didn't know where Kramer ended and Richards began. In fact, according to Cheat Sheet, the crew kept extra door hinges on set just in case his crazy entrances into Seinfeld's apartment ever caused real damage. Replicating the success of such an iconic role was never going to be easy. So when The Michael Richards Show, released 2 years after Seinfeld, flopped after only a few episodes, Richards took a break from television. Then things went from bad to worse. In a 2006 stand-up comedy show at The Laugh Factory, Richards broke into a racist rant when he was heckled by audience members. Repeatedly using the N-word, the comedian unleashed a tirade caught on camera. 3 days later, he appeared via satellite on The David Letterman Show, where Jerry Seinfeld was a guest. Richards apologized, saying he'd lost his temper. "For me to be in a comedy club and flip out and say this crap, I'm deeply, deeply sorry," he said. "I'm not a racist. That's what's so insane about this." Still, the damage was done, and soon afterwards, Richards retired from stand-up. 6 years later, he appeared on an episode of Seinfeld's web series, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. He thanked Seinfeld for his public support, yet confessed that he was still haunted by the incident, saying, "It broke me down." In 2013, he starred as Frank in Kirstie Alley's sitcom Kirstie, but the show was canceled after just 1 season. Ouch. A father of 2, Richards is currently married to his second wife, actress Beth Skip. Currently 71, Richards is also the oldest member of the Seinfeld cast and was recently spotted with a gray, thick lockdown beard. Jerry Seinfeld as Jerry Seinfeld. The man who started it all. Jerry Seinfeld found his comedy calling early. From the age of 8, he closely studied comedians and developed his own dry style of observational humor. Today, Seinfeld is worth an estimated $950 million and has regularly been included on the list of the world's highest-paid comedians. Much of his fortune has come from Seinfeld and its syndication deals. In the late 70s and 80s, Seinfeld made a name for himself, delivering comedy routines on shows including The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson and Late Night with David Letterman. Approached by NBC to write a sitcom in the late 80s, he teamed up with comedian Larry David and Seinfeld was born. It was the perfect partnership. Widely credited with changing the face of television, Seinfeld didn't immediately catch on with audiences, but when it did, it was unstoppable. Playing a semi-fictionalized version of himself, Seinfeld's star kept rising. It was his decision to end the show after 9 seasons. Afterwards, he chose to return to New York and focus on stand-up. He later produced, co-wrote, and starred in the Golden Globe-nominated animated film B-Movie. Since 2012, Seinfeld has hosted popular web series Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. In each episode of his show, Seinfeld drives a different vintage car to pick up a comedian who he takes for a coffee and a chat. All 3 of his former Seinfeld castmates, as well as Larry David, have been featured. According to Cheat Sheet, Seinfeld is a car collector who owns a fleet of over 150 vehicles. Originally broadcast on streaming network Crackle, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee was sold to Netflix in 2017. Seinfeld's lucrative deal with Netflix also includes the rights to broadcast Seinfeld as well as 2 new stand-up specials. Seinfeld also signed on to develop scripted and non-scripted comedy programming for the streaming service. Recently, Netflix aired Seinfeld's first original stand-up special in 22 years titled 23 Hours to Kill. In October, he's set to release Is This Anything?, a book chronicling his stand-up career. Much like his Seinfeld alter ego, Seinfeld avoided settling down for decades. In fact, he only married at the age of 45, a year after the show wrapped. His wife Jessica is a philanthropist and cookbook author. The two met shortly before Jessica married another man, but that marriage lasted for just 4 months. Do we smell a scandal? The couple set the record straight in a 2004 Vogue interview. Jerry was neither the cause nor the effect of the breakup, but his friendship gave me strength and resilience at a time of desperate need, and it has formed the basis for my happiness in the years that have followed, said Jessica. In the same interview, Seinfeld spoke of how his wife and kids gave him purpose. Now married for almost 21 years, the Seinfelds have 1 daughter and 2 sons. Regardless of where they are now, the cast's success will forever be rooted in Seinfeld. In his Television Academy Foundation interview, Jason Alexander shared a touching moment from the show's last live taping. "It's the 4 of us and we're holding hands. Jerry says, I want to say something. For the rest of our lives, when anyone thinks of one of us, they will think of all 4 of us. And I can't think of 3 people I'd rather have that be true of." Aww. Which Seinfeld character do you miss the most? Share your opinion with us in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and stay awesome.